What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. I thought my Pittsburgh Steelers coverage for the week was done until the last 24 hours. Pittsburgh saw two more rotational/starting players cut from the roster to save more cap space heading into free agency. If you guys want to see my videos of some Steeler positional breakdowns of who we should keep and cut out of our free agents, who we should target in the free agent market from other teams, and the positions we have to focus on drafting, those have all been posted in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. My positional drafting video went up yesterday or 2 days ago as I record this, but all of a sudden Pittsburgh had two more cuts on the roster. And those two cuts are safety Keanu Neal and cornerback/safety Patrick Peterson. What does this tell us? This tells us that Pittsburgh is not resting on its laurels. Pittsburgh is always looking to upgrade. These past 2 years, we have brought in and let go of a ton of rotational/starting players. We are always trying to improve now. I love what the new GMs and the people compiling this roster are doing here by letting go of these two veterans. We were very excited coming into last season, bringing these two guys in. Keanu Neal being the hard-hitting, tackling box safety and kind of being able to jump into the three safety rotation like we had 2 years ago, having Minka and KZ and then signing Neal. It's like, oh, you've got three rotational safeties that are veterans. Neal's been a big interception guy in the past. He's a big tackler and hitter. He can do some things that the other safeties don't do as much. He and KZ can kind of be the hybrid kind of rotational guys to make up for to help out with what Minka Fitzpatrick does. And then signing Patrick Peterson was our big veteran guy, super athletic, super fast, big-time playmaker, lots of interceptions, lots of good returns, just a veteran guy that's smart, has good footwork, plays the ball well. We were excited bringing these two guys in last year, and neither guy really met our expectations, and now they are gone. Keanu Neal, let's just get into his stats. He was cut yesterday as I record this. And he was set to make $2.1 million this year, so just over $2 million. Coming into his ninth season, he's played 8 years, 1 year for the Steelers. Last season, he played in 9 games, started 8, so just played in half the season. Started 8 games, played in 9 total. And again, what was kind of a swing safety along with KZ on the other side of Minka, who also got hurt last year. Had 50 tackles, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, and 2 pass deflections. So yeah, 50 tackles, I think 30 solo and 20 combined or something like that. 2 turnovers, yeah, the 1 pick and the 1 fumble recovery, and then 2 pass deflections. He did not play up to what we expected, mostly because he was hurt for half the year. He has now been hurt for the majority, half if not more, of 2 of the last 3 seasons, and he's not really a great cover guy. He's not terribly fast. He's not very good with the ball in the air. Had 2 pass deflections and 1 pick, like I said, but for a guy that's played 8 years heading into his 9th season, he was not really producing, and he was not factoring into the plans to be Pittsburgh's kind of future safety. His strength lied in being a box safety, tackling in the run game, getting some blitzes, getting some tackles for a loss, things like that. And he did those things okay, but he looked a step slower. He was not producing that much. And Minka, when healthy, does those things a lot better than Neal does, and you need somebody else back there who can cover the passing game a little more. And even though it was just $2.1 million, that's still a contract for somebody. That is more than certain guys like Russell Wilson are expected to make. You could sign another starting safety for numbers like that. We got KZ for that 2 years ago. So you can sign a starter who's more consistent for $2.1 million. And Neal playing in just 9 games last year and only producing 2 turnovers was not terribly effective for even $2.1 million. And Patrick Peterson, he's one I was really excited about, especially with JPJ going to be coming into his own. Patrick was going to be the veteran along with Levi Wallace. Both those guys at outside corner fell apart last year. Patrick Peterson and Levi Wallace, as our starting corners last year, were the worst tandem group in the NFL. They were terrible. Peterson was due to make just over $6 million this year, so a pretty sizable cap hit, like 6.1 or 6.2 million. Coming into this season. He was coming into his 14th year. He's played 13 years now, one with Pittsburgh, making a 2-year, $14 million contract, and didn't play all that great. Did play in 17 games, started 16, played in all 17, had 42 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 11 pass deflections. Most of his positive work came about 2/3 into the season when he was switched to safety. He played so bad at outside corner and was looking so much slower than expected that not only was he taken out of the outside corner spot for the most part, even after Corey Trice got hurt, even after JPJ was being slowly integrated into the system and Wallace was playing so bad, but Peterson was moved out of the outside corner spot because he was covering terribly, especially in the first 5 or 6 games, but then he wasn't even trusted to go to slot where we thought he was going to go for very long. I think he played there a little bit, but was moved to safety because he was looked at as not fast enough to make plays back there. He's a good ball locator. He's good with the ball in the air, as evident by his 11 pass deflections, but he was not fast enough and was not physical enough at this age to keep up with a lot of the outside receivers. So he was moved out of cornerback entirely and moved to safety. So even with the injuries to Minka and KZ last year, Neal wasn't doing much because he was hurt for most of the year, and Peterson was moved to safety, and now he's being cut. So this shows that Pittsburgh is not going to rest on their laurels. They are going to save now about $8.5 million, which takes their cap money, their free agency space money, to about $20 million, if not a little more, heading into free agency this coming Wednesday. And that says that Pittsburgh is going to go after a couple of names. You can get some guys on the cheap that can replace the production of the guys we had this year. Again, between the two of them in total, they accounted for 4 turnovers, 3 total picks, and a fumble recovery. Not many tackles for a loss, not really big in the run game. Peterson did not take very good angles in the run. Peterson was not very good at outside corner, and Keanu Neal was not very good at covering the pass in spite of being a safety. So you got some aging guys who you were not going to have for very long. Keanu Neal coming into his 9th season, he was going to be around for 2 or 3 more years. He's been hurt for 2 of the last 3 seasons. Patrick Peterson coming into his 14th year, final year of his Pittsburgh deal. He was going to be around for 1 more year, maybe get another 1-year deal somewhere else. He may sign somewhere else, but he was going to be done soon. These are 2 aging guys who are slowing down and not playing as well as they used to, making decent money that we are now saving on guys that were not going to be here long term. Now we can target these things in the draft. We're coming into a very cornerback deep draft this coming draft coming up. What a redundant sentence that was. But we are coming into a draft where there's like 12 or 13 corners that are like first and second round worthy. This is a very deep corner draft with a lot of physical guys that Pittsburgh likes. So we could target that in this draft. And there were just, in the last couple days, there were like 4 major safeties cut from teams coming up here. So this is a safety-heavy free agency class and a heavy cornerback draft class. So this tells me Pittsburgh is going to sign several guys because now, again, at corner, we only have JPJ as the dependable guy. We have Darius Rush, who we like, who's not proven yet. We have Corey Trice, who we loved in camp, who got hurt. So we have effectively a rookie coming off an injury. We have Pierre and Wallace, who I think were abysmal last year. I'd cut both. So you need to sign at least 1 corner in free agency and sign 1 via draft at least, if not more. And then safety, you want to sign at least 1 more because you do have Minka as your star, but he's been hurt a lot. You do have KZ, who's a proven veteran, who's solid but not great, but also gets injured. So you want to get another guy to come in and probably start next to Minka and let KZ kind of float in as your backup cover guy because he's still good, but he's not great, and he gets hurt a lot. So you want to get another safety in the rotation and probably at least 2 more corners in your rotation coming up. So Pittsburgh's going to be targeting corner and safety potentially in free agency and or the draft coming up. I expect Pittsburgh now with over $20 million to make a splash signing. We're going to be obviously getting a quarterback that's going to be a rotational guy, maybe starter, maybe backup, fighting for the starting spot. That's going to be cheap. Russell Wilson is visiting here this week. There's been a lot of talk about him getting like a $1.5 to $2.1 million contract, league minimum, which is in the 1 millions. And we just saved $8 million. So we've got some money to play with, and we've got some holes now. We need at least 1 safety. We need at least 2 corners. We need at least 1 offensive tackle. We need at least 1 center. We're probably going to add a wide receiver at some point. We have a lot of stuff to fill, and Pittsburgh is actively looking to fill them. They are cutting aging veterans. They are cutting guys who are not producing. They are cutting guys who are not earning the level of contract they have, and they're going after fresh people. You have to like what you're seeing here. Cutting the guys that are not productive to the level we expected or to the level they are getting paid to go after new guys. I love what the front office is doing. I think these are 2 solid cuts, and I think we're going to be players this free agency coming up on Wednesday. Come back on Wednesday, guys, for me to give you guys a free agency rundown, hopefully breaking up the news of some pretty important signings here in Pittsburgh. Take care.